Yeah, because you can't just be a musician anymore. It just doesn't work. And obviously we aren't really cut out for a lot of the short form content making that is required of being a musician in 2026. And so I feel like we've leaned so far in the other direction of trying to get into like that long form epic storytelling music. And you know, like all you have to do is just like go 100% into something that you're interested in, and it's easy. You know, you aren't fighting your gut that's saying no, and you know, and you just lead into like the things that are fun, like writing crazy 20-minute songs with every time signature you can, putting on crazy costumes and making up all these fun new characters and their backstories with your friends. And I think that hopefully, you know, reaches more people than just ourselves, and it seems to be working. I don't know. All I can say again is like somehow like 5 years in to like this new chapter, you know, in like you know, post-COVID world where we've somehow, we're still in this studio, we're still writing everything here, we're recording everything here, we're lucky enough to be here.
Yeah, we're lucky. We're
at, you know,
lucky.
the Chalet B room here, and I don't know. Let's just see how far we can get away with it, how far we can push it, and
this is where the magic happens, man.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think I'm really excited for the next record. We're already we've already demoed like 40 minutes plus of music, and we've got a really cool story that we're both very excited about. Now we just have to
put it together. It's just like a puzzle.
Shove it all in together. You know, shave off the weird rough edges, or maybe add some weird rough edges.
Yeah, a little bit of both.
Yeah,
the cat's out of the bag. We've already played with players who aren't a part of our core band, so I feel like anything at this point is fair game for the future. If we want to bring people on, maybe there's a sax solo that demands some cool sax player to come in, but we're not closed to the idea of having more people on with us for live.
Yeah, I think for Cody and I, one of the greatest pieces of music related media is Stop Making Sense by Talking Heads and Jonathan Demme, and the way that they incorporated the core band and the core writers, and then extra musicians that brought on all these, you know, really exciting elements to the music and the show, will always remain just a huge influence for us.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And I think that we have a responsibility to ourselves and to each other about having an element of the Crownland show highlight the silly circus act that is Cody and I trying to pull off, you know, the world's smallest symphony orchestra, right? And I think that will always come from our love of Rush, where Geddy, Neil, and Alex somehow pulled off this amazing symphonic prog sound with only 3 people, and we've tried to one up them or one down them.
Something that inspired me on this record was basically the entirety of the Dune universe. Frank Herbert has this really cool, visceral voice in the way he writes his books, and I think that informed a lot of what went into making the Syndicate and making Blackstar. You know, it feels like it's a story of struggle. You know, those stories are a struggle for power and over resources, and we talk about that a lot in with the Syndicate and its penchant for, you know, total control of world resources and extracting resources using Starlifter technology, etc. And I feel like that inspired me a lot on this one.
Yeah, one big piece of media that inspired the image of Blackstar, that, you know, like his grand entrance, is the death of Stalin. You know, when the main military commander, Georgy Surkov, walks, his entrance in that movie, he's like, you know, Christ, can I get a drink around here? And it just goes to slow motion, and you just see, you know, his like broad chest, and he's got like all of these medals. And it's actually wild because they had to change how many medals he had in the movie, and they actually had less on him than he did in real life, because they're like, no one would believe that like his just entire chest was just covered in all of these medals. But that image really hit me when I was trying to like think about, you know, like that you know, the big glissando, like as that song comes in, that's really the image, like is kind of like, you know, Zerkov. And again, also, like, you know, all the travesties that dude was responsible for.
He's a horrible dude. Oh yeah.
So we really wanted to kind of,
that's who Blackstar
you know,
is.
kind of nail. Yeah, he's very much, you know, kind of like a Darth Vader figure.
Yeah.
I guess that shot in Empire, right?
Yeah.
Like when he's
leads me into that.
Yeah.
Totally. Like that's my other inspiration for this for sure would be Star Wars. Full stop. You know, it's the story between good versus evil. It's really reduced to that because, you know, we didn't want to get too granular with our story. It's Fearless versus Blackstar, you know, and this is Blackstar's story. Blackstar is a culmination of many different things, like the death of Stalin, like Kevin was saying, Dune, and definitely like Darth Vader. Absolutely, he's the right hand of the Syndicate. He's the enforcer archetype in storytelling.
Yeah, the military arm.
The military arm, exactly. He's not the one who created the ideology, but he enforces it with an iron fist, and that is him to a T. You know, I think like we worked a lot on just like the story of Apocalypse more than anything else. Like we really leaned into this mythology more than we ever have, even in more than Fearless Part 2.
For sure.
And I feel like it just keeps going in that direction. So no doubt these will be inspirations moving forward to the next record as well.
Yeah, well said. Obviously, the last one of, you know, media that will loom over everything Cody and I do is without a doubt Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
I think yeah, like every year we're rewatching and rereading the series. Yeah, like it really is just the purest story of good versus evil out there, and the triumph of the small and good over, you know, over the mighty and evil, you know. And it's like how even the smallest you know, most unlikely of creatures can rise up and prove to the world that you can make a difference.
And also the theme of man versus technology, which is super cool, like with the Ebb and Flight versus the Syndicate, and, you know, how the unlikely will topple it, kind of like how the Ents topple Isengard.
Yeah, that's really good too. What I was gonna say one more thing. What was it? Probably wasn't very important. Oh yes, I do remember. The Terminator has a huge, another very large looming shadow over a lot of the storyline, especially for the next record.
Look out!
Look out!
That's the only hint we're dropping for the next record. This has been our breakdown for everything Apocalypse. We're talking Apocalypse, we're talking inspiration, we're talking live performances, and we're so happy you guys could kind of sit in and listen to our retellings of stories and maybe glean some things about the lore maybe you didn't know before.
Thanks for hanging. We'll see you next time.
Peace.